What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of D. Haynes and Doc Fantasy Sports Podcast. We are here live with Week 13 sleepers, stardoms, situms, and we'll go a little bit over the Thursday's game of the Seattle Seahawks versus the one and only Dallas Cowboys. Yes. First off, we'll go through the Thursday's games, and then we'll get right into the sleepers for you guys so you guys can get your lineup set for the 1 o'clock start times. So, Newport, what do you think of Thursday's game between the Seahawks and your one and only Cowboys?
Yeah, it went how I expected. I actually told you I thought it was going to be a one-score game. It ended up being that. I think they just haven't played. They've had a couple weeks of playing some pretty bad competition. So the first time they played someone decent, it just took a while for them to get going. But once they got going, Dak looked great again. I heard that they are planning on giving him the highest salary of any quarterback next year. They talked about that with Jerry Jones already. So he is staying for the long haul, sounds like.
Yes, sir.
But no, I enjoyed it. Tony Pollard got into the game, thank God. Just started running the ball finally and looked like he wanted to. So, yeah, I was happy. I'm excited for next week for the Eagles, especially after they're going to be beat up from the 49ers. So that's going to be great.
Yes, and yeah, no, it's a win's a win. You know, we'll take it. We'll take it either way for the Cowboys. But great performance, and give Seattle some credit, especially DK Metcalf. Thanks, Ian, for sending him on the bench.
I told him to, so thank me.
Yeah, thank you too. And I'm not gonna lie, he asked after as well, and I said, you know what, I would have done the same thing. But it's because of the way he's been performing. But props to him. He looked like the old DK Metcalf. Seattle, I know they go against the 49ers next week, but if they play like they did against the Cowboys, I know the Cowboys didn't have their best game on defense, especially. I think they can make some moves to at least be closer this time to the 49ers. I don't think they'll win next week, but they played a heck of a game.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, we'll get right into our sleepers now. Newport, do you want to let us know who your number one sleeper is right now?
Definitely. I think this is someone who isn't necessarily on a ton of people's radar right now, for good reason.
Yep.
I don't think he's even the best back on the team. However, we're talking about Antonio Gibson. I do think Brian Robinson is the better back of the two. However, in this matchup against the Dolphins, so when Washington's going up against a team that they are severe underdogs against, they use Antonio Gibson more than they use Brian Robinson. So in this situation, I believe Antonio Gibson, based off of like the Cowboys game, stuff like that, when they're severe underdogs, they use Antonio Gibson. So he's going to get more carries, more receptions than Brian Robinson. So this is a very similar situation going up against the Dolphins. They're going to be heavy underdogs. They're going to be chasing points the entire game. And I think it's a go-to for quite a bit of passing attempts, and I hope he brings them in. But if he's on your bench and you're looking for that flex spot, I would play him.
Yep. Don't have much to say with him, but yeah, you made some great points on that. So my first sleeper then would be Evan Ingram, tight end out of Jacksonville. This weekend he's actually going up against the Bengals, giving him a great opportunity because right now the Bengals have been giving up the second most points to tight ends this year. So look out for a great outlook on him because with Trevor Lawrence under center, he likes to throw it his way as well. So just look out for Evan Ingram. I think they'll take full advantage of the Bengals doing this at home, and I don't see the Bengals having a shot with Jacksonville this week, I'll be honest. But Evan Ingram is a great sleeper if you guys need a tight end in a big league.
Yeah, he's an interesting one for me. He's actually my starting tight end on my fantasy team. He has been. I can't go both ways with him. He gets a lot of targets, but not a lot of points. And so I'm still chasing those targets, especially on higher-powered offense, such as them. So I'm still going to keep him in for sure.
Yep.
My next player I have as a sleeper is A.T. Perry. And if you've never heard of him, that's for good reason so far. He is a rookie, 24 years old, plays for the Saints, the reason he should be on your radar, not because of any recent games. He's only got 3 receptions in year to date. 3 receptions, 3.5 fantasy points per game. You're thinking, why? Why would I start this man? You know, the reason you start him is because Chris Olave is on concussion protocol and Shaheed has a quadricep injury. So who's going to be the number 1 option? Probably still Kamara. But A.T. Perry will be there, and he'll be the only receiver downfield. So I feel like he's going to get you a lot of points. He has 45 yards on 3 receptions, so it's not like he hasn't been done well with the opportunities he's given. He just hasn't been given much.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens. And again, if you're in a huge league, and there's a lot of people on bye this week, actually a ton. So if you need someone, A.T. Perry's good for a flex.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, with having those 2 guys out, I mean, yeah, he's definitely going to be active. And he came from a Wake Forest team with Sam Hartman, as his quarterback. So he's I'm sure he's seen the ball a lot of times.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll dive into my second sleeper. I got Devin Singletary. He's going against the Broncos this week, which still to this day, even with their hot streak, are dead last in the running defense. So they're 32nd still to the run. Look out for them trying to run the ball a little bit more at home. And I mean, the last 3 games for Devin, he's had 13 fantasy points, 20 fantasy points, and 23 fantasy points. So he's on a hot streak right now. I know last week he didn't have too many yards on the ground, and he only carried it 6 times against Jacksonville. But like I just said, well, actually I didn't say it yet, but I will. Jacksonville is a very good running defense. So that is a reason why, but yet he's still getting receptions. I mean, he had 6 receptions in the passing game for 54 yards, so that will definitely help, especially in the running game, if you guys need some fantasy value there. So look out for him. I think it's a great pick.
Yeah, you'll hear his name a little bit later in the show as well. So yeah, I'll pass for now on him. My last sleeper is Mr. Achane himself. Achane, however you want to say it. I like Achane, but I know his name's Achane. Officially taken off IR. The coach, McDaniels, came out and said that he's not worried about any significant aggravation to the knee, any problem like that. If you remember, a couple weeks ago, he was thrown in 3 plays later, taken out because of his knee was acting up again. But apparently he's back to full health. McDaniels did say he's going to be sharing the backfield with Mostert as well as probably Jeff Wilson Jr. But when you see Achane on the field, you've got to start him because in 3 games he got 51 points, 27 points, and 22 fantasy points. So he's electric. And Tyreek Hill actually said that he's worried about losing in a race to 2 people in the league, one of them being Achane, and the other one being Ethan Bonner, who's on the Dolphins practice squad. So they have the 3 fastest people in the entire league.
Well, and Mostert too.
Mostert's quick, but Achane is lightning. Yeah, he's lightning. I mean, they're a fast team. I like the Dolphins when they're healthy. Achane's playing, and you have anyone even close to him, I'm putting Achane above him. So.
Yep. Oh, we got a question in the chat already. Good morning. Should I start Dell or Rice? That's standard league. Worried about the snow for Rice and the injury for Dell. Also, well, first we'll go with that question. You want to answer that?
Give me Tank Dell.
Yeah, I'd say Tank
100%.
Dell. Yep, I'd say Tank Dell as well, just with how much they pass the ball. He's lights out so far. So Rice, he's been great. He had a good last week, but at the same time, Mahomes. With being Mahomes, he gives the ball to everyone, so it's not too many targets every now. Like it's a hit or miss with Rice. I'll say that.
Well, and Tank Dell had that calf injury, and he was limited like all week in practice. So, with lower leg injuries, like when you give it rest, it normally heals super quick. So, especially a calf, just giving it time, he'll be good to go.
And that's coming from a doctor too, just so you guys know. It's coming from a doctor. All right, and the next question also, should I start Herbert or Murray? Worried about the Keenan Allen injury for Herbert.
I mean, Keenan Allen's been hurt for 4 weeks now, and see the result of that is uh, 40 fantasy points, 27 fantasy points, and 23 fantasy points for Keenan Allen. So uh, start Herbert. I would say start Herbert, especially against the Patriots.
100% agree.
I really think they're going to blow them out. Patriots are the worst team in the league right now. Definitely start Herbert for sure.
Yep.
What was the other option?
Murray, and I'll take that one because they do play against Pittsburgh, and their defense right now has been relentless. I don't see him getting the average points that he's supposed to be getting right now. I would definitely put Herbert over Murray for this game at least.
100%. Yeah.
So
Murray's a good quarterback, and he's good for high teens, low 20s fantasy points. However, I think the Steelers are one of the sleepiest teams in the league. Like now, their offense is opening up. Their defense has always been solid, so they're gonna make the playoffs.
And it's rowdy there. It's at the Steelers, so it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough for them.
Rude.
But no, yeah. Thanks for the question. If you have any more, let us know.
Yep.
Yeah. So we'll go then with my third sleeper. It would be Sam Laporta, rookie tight end for the Detroit Lions. He's going against the Saints this week. Speaking of the Saints, they are five of their opponents, their past 6 starters, has scored 9.5 points or more against them for tight ends. So, nope, they're not the best. They're not, I'll just say, below average.
Dude, Alabama just made it.
Alabama made it?
That's sorry to interrupt you.
Wow.
I just got the notification. Alabama's in the 4.
Wow. And Florida State didn't make it?
I don't think so.
Man.
Ooh.
Interesting.
No way.
Interesting. But yeah, Sam Laporta is a good lock-in, I think, a good sleeper for this week, with the Saints being very not that good at all against the tight ends this year. So sleeper for sure. And if it's bigger leagues, I'd start him too. So any chance that Hunter Henry be a sneaky play today against his old team?
No.
I don't think so either. The quarterback position for the Patriots is just not. I don't know how to say it, man. It's not doing too hot.
Sorry, I'm trying to find this thing. It's not pulling up. I think everyone in the country is pulling this up at the same time. This is breaking news.
Yeah, I'm actually that's one against everything the committee has talked about with undefeated. And
I saw a flash on my news thing for a second, and I saw Alabama in the 4. So that's all I saw.
Gotcha. But anyways, yeah, I don't think Hunter Henry will be the best option this week. I don't think he'll be sneaky, to be honest with you. I mean, the most fantasy points he's had since week 2 is 13.9. The rest, I mean, he's averaging 7 points a game. And yeah, I don't know. I don't see him being a good fit. I get the Chargers aren't that good in the passing game, but it's also New England's struggling at the quarterback position right now, and I just don't know. It's not promising. If that's the only guy you have, I guess, but if you have some other options, I'd pick someone else. I think he's projected only like 6.8 points, almost 7, which is about his average. But your call. If you have someone else, I'd use him. I'd use someone else. But yeah, you want to go with your starts now? We're gonna go with the startums, and then situms. So we'll go with our starts first. Newport, you want to go with your first start, and then we'll go to mine.
Yeah, absolutely. My first start here, sorry, I was still looking this up, is Brock Purdy. So Brock Purdy must start here. I really do believe the Eagles' secondary is trash.
Yes.
It's their biggest weakness on their entire team, and I think he's going to have a huge game. I think the score of this game is going to be gigantic, actually. I don't know what the over-under is, but I'd probably bet the over on it. Based off how the game went last week with the Eagles.
Yeah.
I really do think it's going to be a big game. And he's on a hot streak right now. So this will be the 5th time in a row, I believe, he'd be 20 fantasy points or over for Mr. Irrelevant. crazy numbers, start him against an Eagles defense that's bad for sure.
Yeah, 100% agree with that, especially with their secondary. Their secondary is terrible, which then leads to one of my stardoms, Brandon Ayuk. You summed it up with Brock Purdy. I mean, it's the same way. Their secondary is not that good at all. Brandon Ayuk, even I think Debo will get some good looks today as well, just because of that fact. But Brandon right now, I mean, he's averaging a good 16 fantasy points per game right now. He's the number one wide receiver on the team. So definitely start him. I know some people, they think, oh, the Eagles, do I start him? Do I not? Start him because the Eagles secondary is trash. It's their running game that's good, that helps them. So it's going to be a lot of passing involving Brandon and Debo today. So and Kittle. So look out for them.
Yep, completely agree. This next one will be quick for me because I have this person on a must start. You had him on sleeper.
Yep.
Basically just bringing up Devin Singletary again. I think he's a must start. Last 3 games got 23 fantasy points, 20 fantasy points, and 13 fantasy points. But he's still staying high in the reception category. Had 7 targets last week. Again, I follow his targets, especially in a running back. I think it's a no-brainer moving into this week. That's pretty much all I have to say.
Yeah.
For him.
Yeah. Nope. Agreed with that. I mean, I already stated my facts on him. So yeah. My next starter, finally, again, Bijan Robinson, finally coming back a little bit stronger now. So he had 27 fantasy points last week against New Orleans, 16 carries for 91 yards and a touchdown, and then he had 3 receptions for 32 yards and a touchdown. So he had a total of 2 touchdowns last week. He's finally getting the ball again. I don't know why they even thought about getting rid of that idea of not giving him the ball. But he's going against a Jets defense. The running game is subpar. They're not the best, but they're not terrible. And I know their defense is good on the secondary side, so they're going to probably want to run the ball a little bit more against the Jets. So look out for Robinson getting a lot of touches, whether it's dish downs or even just handoffs. So I think he's a great start for this week. I know he's projected 15 fantasy points, just over his average. So I think he will do great. His ceiling is approximately about 18 to 20 points. So just be careful. If you're looking into that, know that his bust is only 7. So a lot of these running backs in big leagues right now, their ceiling is 7. So this is a must start for Bijan. I think he's finally getting back to where he needed to be, and I feel like the team is finally getting a little bit more comfortable with him and actually knows how to play him.
Yep. And just to be clear here, this 9 minutes ago, college football playoff field, number 1, Michigan Wolverines. Number 2, Washington Huskies. Number 3, Texas Longhorns. Number 4, Alabama Crimson Tide.
Wow.
FSU and Georgia out of the playoff.
I knew Georgia would be, but at Florida State one, there'll be some talks about that.
There's going to be some angry people.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you got Michigan versus Florida State then.
Alabama.
Sorry, yeah. Michigan versus Alabama in the Rose Bowl. Sugar Bowl, you got Washington and Texas.
That's the most exciting field I could have hoped for personally. I'm excited.
Yeah, no, I am too. I'm just very surprised.
I did not want to see Florida State get wrecked.
I didn't either. Okay,
moving on. My last start is guy on my team, Mr. Breece Hall. So I know watching him recently has been kind of tough because he's kind of been held to very few rushing yards. It's been kind of tough. But with that being said, I think he's doing quite a bit as a receiver outside of just the rushing yards. So he doesn't get a ton of rushing yards, but he's a big proponent out of the backfield. And I mean, it's Breece Hall. I really do think when he runs hard as shit.
Yep.
So his O-line hasn't been helping him a ton. This matchup isn't the greatest, but if Breece Hall is one of your running backs, then he's obviously one of your top 2, and he's in a must-start position for me at this point in the season. I don't think that there's any sleepers that can outperform him. So he's still sitting in that must start for me, especially with how much receiving potential he has out of the backfield. So I think his ceiling is a lot higher than everybody. Floor might be lower, but his ceiling can be very high. So
100% agree with that. 100% agree with that. This guy I'm very excited about for this weekend. Jalen Waddle going against the worst passing defense right now. They weren't before, but now they are. The Washington Commanders. Just so you know, whoever has Tyreek Hill this week, you're going to have a great week. I can just say that. And then besides that, Jalen Waddle, going to have a great week. So definitely start him. I know that he's been a little iffy earlier this year. But this man's finally going off again. I think last week he had 20 fantasy points, 8 receptions for 114 yards, averaged 14 yards per reception. And I just see it against Washington. It might be that or more each for him and Tyreek. So they're great matchup for them this week. And just look out for a lot of yards.
Yeah, amen. Moves us into our last section for picking players here, which will be our sits. My first sit, I'm going to jump in and go with Zach Charbonnet. I think he's a sit on this week. I don't know if Kenneth Walker will be back or not at this point. I haven't seen the news yet come across. But even if he's back, I still don't think he's a start. Obviously this game happened, so you can see the points. But how much points did he get?
16-7.
16-7. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm kind of talking like in the future here, but I really don't think he's a starter moving forward. I mean, I think he's a bad option compared to other people.
Yep.
The Dallas defense in itself kind of surprised me though with him, because they actually held Christian McCaffrey to 13 points, I think, and they held Austin Eckler to basically nothing. So I was surprised, but just want to throw it on there. So.
Well, and you have, I mean, I have Charbonnet, and so we're in a bigger league. So if you're in a bigger league, if you need a flex option at some time, like some weeks, if Walker's not in, you can try it, give it a try. I actually sat him against the Cowboys. Now I kind of wish I didn't because he did score 16-7, but it's very surprising, especially against the Cowboys. So
it was.
Yeah, it's not like that's going to happen again. Like if they won again, there's no way that's happening again. So yes, it great because I sat him, and so I thought that would have been, that 1 in a million game. I'll give it that.
Yeah.
Drake London is my first sit. He's going against the Jets secondary, and he's going to be going one-on-one with Sauce Gardner. I just don't think he is up. I don't think his talent is quite there to the Sauce level. I don't know. I just, for some reason, I feel like Atlanta's passing game isn't the best. It's all right, but it's just not that good. And you feel like with Drake, he would get a little bit more looks than what he does. But as of late, it's just been average. But like I said, he's just going against Sauce Gardner, which I don't see him doing too hot with. But I mean, the most fantasy points in the last 2, 3, 4 games he's had was 14 points. He had 6 the time before that and 10. I mean, he's averaging about 11 fantasy points, which isn't too bad. But with this Jets secondary defense, I'd sit him unless you have no one else to play in bigger leagues. But if not, sit him, please. But of course, it's all up to you, though, guys. Too. I'm not telling you have to do these things.
No, you have to. No, I agree. Moving into my second sit, someone we already talked about, but Marquise Brown going up against the Steelers. I think he might be a little enticing after last game, after getting 12 targets. That can be super enticing. Only brought in 6 of them, but still got 15 fantasy points in a PPR league. However, they're going up against Pittsburgh. and I think that they're going to put the clamps on him. I really do. I think there's going to be other options down the field. I know I was super excited about the 12 targets myself, super excited, but I want to give it one more week, especially against the Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not someone that I would start, but I am happy to see that Kyler Murray is opening up the game to Marquise Brown, because last year was great.
Yeah.
They looked great together. Fantasy points was feeding on both ends. So, but it seems like this year Murray likes to check down to McBride a lot. So the fact that he's opening it up to Marquise Brown is exciting, but this week I would hold off just because of that Steelers matchup and the fact that they're rolling. So.
Correct. No, and 100% agree with that as well. One next guy I have for a sit-em is actually Joe Mixon. Unfortunately, I actually have him on my fantasy. I can't sit him just because of the fact I don't have enough running backs on my team in this big league. So I'm gonna actually have to play him, unfortunately. But he's going against this Jacksonville Jaguars defense that is been on a tear lately, especially against the run game. They're doing pretty well. They did average. Actually, no, they did pretty well against Houston. They did average against Houston. I will say that, but they're right now their run games, especially at home, they're a little bit more dominant at. So just be aware, because I almost positive they're going to be trying to run the ball a lot this week because they have no Joe Burrow at quarterback. So they're going to be wanting to run the ball. Now I get it. That's going to be a lot of touches for Mixon, but at the same time, will it lead to his fantasy value rising in touchdowns and actually getting enough yards? So this Jacksonville defense is hot right now. I'm not, as much as I want to say Joe Mixon should have a decent game, I think this week might be a dud for him. But we'll tell. But that's one of my sit-ems that I think that could possibly be a caution flagged for this week.
Yeah, I go both ways on it.
It's hard, yeah.
Only because I don't think that they have an option to really throw the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So
and Jacksonville knows that. So they're gonna be going for the run.
That's a good point. It's just hopefully Mixon gets at least 5 receptions.
Yeah.
Because I think the only way that they can do it is PAs.
Correct.
And then check down.
Correct.
The receiver or the tight end. That's the only way that they're gonna get yards. Moving into my last sit, it's Tyler Higbee for the Rams. So if you watched the Rams last week, you might be enticed to play him. He got 5 catches for 29 yards and 2 touchdowns. You're thinking, man, got 2 touchdowns. I'm going to start this man. I wouldn't be so sure. Tight ends are not a very deep position, and I do not think that this matchup this week with the Browns, who only give 4.8 fantasy points to tight ends, will be possible. I don't see it happening. I don't think Tyler Higbee is even going to get that many targets, just because, again, they put the clamps down on the tight ends. They don't let anything come over the middle. So I don't see it happening. I think Kyren Williams might have a decent game again, but again, it's the Browns, the best defense in the league right now. I think on paper the 49ers are the best defense, but it hasn't been that way.
Yep.
Browns have showed out. So
yeah.
Tyler Higbee.
Correct, and I 100% agree with that as well. My last one as well would be James Conner for the Arizona Cardinals. It's kind of sad, man. With the Cardinals being so bad this year, it's kind of hard for him to even get a lot of touches just because they're always behind. So in order for them to get ahead of the game, they got to pass the ball, right? So when they're playing from behind the entire game, it's kind of hard to get value out of him unless he gets drop down passes, which is iffy. But I mean, 5 consecutive games below 9 fantasy points. He hasn't found the end zone since week 3. Now, granted, he has been injured, and he's been limited to just 39% of snaps since he's came back. So, unfortunately, I like James, but unfortunately, this week against the Steelers, it's just going to be a little tough for that. It's it's gonna be another game where they're gonna be playing from behind and trying to catch up again, and they're just not gonna run the ball as much anymore. I would love to see him run the ball because James Conner is a great running back, I think. But as this year, with we all know how the Cardinals are, and their record is terrible. So please sit James Conner if you need to, and hopefully you can find another running back because I don't see this matchup being too well for him.
Yeah, absolutely. So that moves us into picking the games.
Yes, sir.
And I believe the record is 3-0-1 to 0-3-1.
Chat, he's cheating.
Correct? I do believe that's the score. I just want to make sure. Yeah. Undefeated, right?
Chat, he's cheating, I promise. Gosh.
Tied once, but that was bullshit. So, I think there's going to be a lot of interesting picks.
I do too. All right, we'll go with the Atlanta Falcons at the New York Jets. Who do you have? The 5-6 Falcons versus the 4-7 Jets. Who you got?
I always start. You go ahead.
Fine. Thank you. I'm gonna go with Atlanta this game. I just think they'll come out and play ball like they've been playing ball. I just don't see the Jets being without Aaron Rodgers. I just don't see it happening. The over under is actually 35 points. I actually find that perfect. But I think the Falcons will come away with this by at least 10.
Give me the Jets.
Oh, first game. The first game. Look at that.
It's at the Jets, and if they're going to have their Cinderella story for him coming back, they got to win a couple.
Yep.
And I don't think Atlanta is a great team. Give me the Jets.
All right.
You got to have some fun here.
Oh, that's true. That's true. All right, next game. Dolphins, 8-3 Dolphins versus the 4-8 Washington Commanders. I'm just going to go make this quick. I'm going to go Dolphins.
You don't have to type that in. Just scroll down.
Oh, nice.
Dolphins, yeah.
Dolphins,
Don't
going Dolphins.
overthink it.
Yeah, I agree. All right, I see what you. Okay, gotcha. The Lions versus the Saints. I am gonna go with the Lions on this one. I think it actually will probably be a closer game than it should be, but I'm gonna go Lions.
I actually don't think it's going to be a close game. Give me Lions.
Okay.
Not a close game. Saints play terrible recently.
Chargers at the New England Patriots. I'm gonna go Chargers just because I hate the Patriots. I hate the Patriots so much.
Yeah, never gonna pick the Patriots.
We got the Arizona Cardinals versus Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going Pittsburgh.
Same.
It's an easy one. Don't overthink that one, guys. This one will be kind of tough.
I want to hear what you had to say.
Yeah, this one will be tough. We're going to go Denver, the hot Denver, 6-5, 5 wins in a row, versus the still kind of hot Houston Texans. I know they lost last week, but it's a close one. I'm just going to pick it just because I want this to happen. I'm going to go Houston. I'm
actually picking Houston, too. After their loss last week and their 6-5 record, I think they're going to play with abandonment. Like they're going to play. Yeah. They need to.
Oh, we got a question in the chat. Should I trade Jay Cook and Myers for Breece Hall?
You can't. Trade deadline.
Trade deadline is up. That's for every league, correct?
Unless they.
Yeah. What is your trade
league?
Yeah. Let's say what's your trade? What is your trade deadline? If your trade deadline's still up, then.
Say it again though. Let me say it again because I was already on the trade deadline part.
Is this James? I'm assuming James Cook, right? James Cook and Myers for Breece Hall. I don't think so.
Which Myers? Jacoby?
That's I'm assuming.
If it's Jacoby Myers, I'm keeping Cook and Myers.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Especially Cook had a good game last. No, it's not. I got 8 minutes. Oh.
Oh no! Keep those two.
Yeah, I'd keep them. I wouldn't trade those.
James Cook and Breece Hall are on the same level, and keep Jacoby Myers on the bench just in case. I mean, it's not worth any extra value.
Correct. So yeah, that's our. I mean, you don't have to, of course, don't have to listen to us, but that's what we would say. But yeah, thanks, Darius. All right, so our next game, my Indianapolis Colts, baby, versus the Tennessee Titans. I'll let you go first. I want to hear what you say.
Give me the Colts.
Okay,
They're
thank
3-1
you.
on the road. Even though Tennessee's 4-0 at home.
And the only thing
and they play hard against the Colts. I know you're going to say it.
Yep.
I know it's coming. I know it's coming.
I hate playing against the Titans, whether it's at our place or at their place. They always put up a game, whether they haven't even won a single game or if they're still undefeated. Either way, it don't matter their record. They always do well against us.
That is true. However, I think the Colts are going to come away with this. They're 6-5.
Sure hope so.
They have a playoff spot.
Yep.
I really do. I mean, they're surprising me weirdly. So
3-1 on the road, baby. 3-1 on the road. Let's keep it going. Colts all the way. All right, this next one, it's going to be pretty easy. Carolina and Tampa Bay. I'm going the Bucks. I'm not going to overthink this one. They had a rough loss last week, but I think they'll come back. And I think Rachaad White is going to go off against Carolina. Fingers crossed, because that's my running back. And I'm gonna go Bucks. I'm not gonna overthink this too much. Why do you say oof? Are you gonna pick the Panthers?
No, I'm saying it comes down to one game for us. Falcons Jets.
Yeah.
That's the decider here.
Yep.
1 p.m. game. We'll see.
Yep. So yeah, we'll see if Newport can reign his title once more this week, or we'll see if I can actually get a win here.
Got to make some money moves. You know, when you're undefeated, when you've won 3 times, it's like you got to throw some fun in there because it gets boring winning. You know.
Yeah. Whatever. All right, guys. Well, that will be our show for the day. Unless you guys have any questions, this games start in 6 minutes, so perfect timing. We'll stay in the chat for about 30 seconds, like we did last week, and see if you guys have any questions, any last second ads that you want to possibly add or start. But other than that, I mean, that's about it. But we'll give it a little bit, see if you guys have any more questions. If not, we will head out.
Don't the Eagles play the Niners?
They do. Why aren't they in this?
Did we miss that game?
Yeah, why aren't they in this?
I feel like we missed that. Where?
I feel like we missed a couple games. I don't feel right.
Hold on, let's pull this up just to be sure. I think we missed that one. We definitely missed
I know we missed that one because they play this week. That's the biggest game, I think, this week.
Let's see. I think yeah, we had 3 more. It just didn't load in. That's why.
Sorry, guys. We still got 3 more picks.
Yeah. 4 more. 4 more. Okay. 49ers, Eagles.
49ers.
Yeah, I'm going to take the 49ers.
I just think
I want the 49ers.
They're too much, especially, yeah, true. I want the 49ers too because I want it to come to that Cowboys and Eagles next week where they battle it out for first. So.
Yep. And Browns, Rams.
I'm going to go.
This one hurt you last week.
I'm going to go Rams.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm picking Rams, 100%. I think the Rams, like, when they have everyone healthy, they win, and they win pretty big. So.
Yep. Go Rams.
Me Rams. Chiefs, Packers. Come on.
Chiefs.
No.
I'm going Chiefs.
Give me Chiefs. You got to pick something else.
Why do I? How about you? I'm
Bengals,
going for
Jags.
Jaguars.
Yeah.
That's too
So
easy.
didn't change anything. But those last 4 games.
Yep, everything's still the same. But well, I don't see any more questions. So until then, we will see you guys Tuesday for the waiver pickups. Other than that, we will be out of here. Hope you guys have some good games this weekend and enjoy it.